Well, we can, I think what I'll do, again, with this suggestion about the questions, bring that through the Policies and Procedures Committee. And then that will be something, you know, appropriate to look at. So what we're going to do, Councilman Pearl and I will do, look at what former Mayor Pro Tem Pinker and I put together that was never tentatively approved. Revisit that, kind of work it through a little bit more, fine tune it, bring it back to the council for a majority vote.
When you're sitting up there and you say, somebody comes up and you say there'll be somebody over there to talk to you, that to me is a cop-out. I'll tell you why, because most of the time you never hear what those people came up there to talk to you or what their answers are. I think you need to have someone, you need to have an information officer. I don't know if we have that or not in the city. You need an information officer that takes all these things down, investigates these things, and then contact you individually or come to the council and say, well, you know, Walter had a problem and we solved that problem and we want you to know what it is. Right now, you don't know what they've done. You know, they lie. Management lies. I have 41 years of these people, I know. You don't get the right answer from these people. A lot of times when they come up and have a question with this code or what have you, you never know if it was ever solved. So you need somebody to get that credibility back to you guys. You need somebody to say, okay.
Just accountability.
Yeah, and you're not getting that. And if you are, it's a lie. I'm sorry, but it's a lie.
Or there are times where either like you stated, the question isn't sufficiently addressed. That's one way of saying it. Or when you say the response is inadequate, sometimes a lot of, you know, again, one has to differentiate between opinion, right? I mean, people have different opinions. A staff member could give an opinion, just like a member of the public can, and they simply don't agree with each other on this, right? I mean, you've seen me have discussions just over the golf course, where I had to go toe to toe with our own finance director to say, well, wait a minute here. Now we're starting to throw all the monkey wrenches in here, and everyone's confused. Is it $750,000 difference or $900,000 difference or not? Let's go through it. And then, you see what I mean? So there is that instance, and then there's others. So.
Yeah, may I continue just for a minute? So I would think it would solve a lot of problems. I know a lot of people ask me, you know, I went up there and I talked about something and I went to talk to management, but management never got back to me as how they solved the problem. And the problem still exists.
Then I think it's not a bad idea to suggest that the public information officer, anything about the title,
I don't know, do we have one in the city?
PIO, Christine Ireland.
Oh, Christine.
So listen.
Disinformation, maybe.
Okay, all right. So the public information officer could be responsible that, reporting to the city manager that these responses, you know, that's that person's job to coordinate amongst all the staff members to make sure these questions get addressed.
Absolutely, it's very important.
But I want to say something. Again, and I deal with one specific individual quite often on this issue, and that is 30 questions, and maybe 3 of them are right, 8 of them haven't been answered, the other ones they've lied on them, and I'm telling you, some of it's reasonable and some of it's not. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be fair and be a judge. That, man, I'm telling you, look, I'm going to say one thing. In the last week alone, I had 3 people I've been working with on 3 separate code enforcement issues. And you guys have all heard I've been pretty strict about code enforcement, especially substandard housing and some of the things that people, slumlords and things that people are getting away with. And I've had 3 code enforcement cases. One involving a property owner, one involving a property owner not having their garage set aside for parking, and the third one is a homeowner who had built structures that were not permitted. I spent, honest to God, I spent 5 to 6 hours, I spent at least a couple hours with each one of the 3, just on those 3 cases alone. And again, you don't want to shortchange anybody. You don't want to say, not listen. I was elected to listen and try and serve, right? And so, you know, therein, Joe, that's what I'm saying is that, and I've said the same thing to each person. No, you're not being singled out. The code enforcement department, code compliance is a reactive, not a proactive department. If somebody calls and reports that your garage has a bunch of stuff in it and you can't park cars, they have to go out and take a look at it. Is that true, Joe? Okay. If someone reports that people are living in the garage and they call code compliance, is it true that you have to go out and?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's why I tell people, I said, there's nothing, and then people have asked me, well, do we get to know who reported?
No.
I said, no, because it's the same thing with people reporting a crime, and they're in, sometimes we live in a society where the accuser sometimes is given more power than